Hey gang, we are back at it again. Kelly Kumalo, Senzo Meyiwa, Tumelo Madlala, Thokozo Sitwala, as well as Zandi Kumalo, seems to be in the news for all the wrong reasons, but we are not making progress in the trial in terms of discovering who really killed Senzo. Are we now? Because when we look at the evidence that is facing us, but prior to us looking into that, perhaps let's listen to this wild goose chase. Listen to this.
I'm also going to argue, Warrant Officer, later on, that the allegations which are contained in count 3 of the indictment, that the witnesses Kelly Kumalo and Gladness Kumalo were robbed of the cell phone, the S4 Samsung cell phone, by one of the intruders who had dreadlocks. It's not a correct version, because the said cell phone is depicted in one of the photos that you took on the 27th of October 2014.
So even before Baloyi intervenes, he is saying to the witness, he is going to argue that the cell phone was not taken by an intruder because it was in the photo. How obvious is that? And what has that got to do with the officer? That is a subject indeed for arguments, but not to be put to the witness. But here is the other thing that I would like you guys to have a look at and consider very carefully, because I think we have got the wrong people here. And this is not a trial about a cell phone that was stolen. This is a trial about somebody who was killed in cold blood murder. Let's just quickly have a look at this. Listen to this. So on the 27th of August, I came across this article from Daily Maverick. A good cop's life is in danger after uncovering lies and cover-ups relating to the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. Hawks Detective Warrant Officer Meshach Makubo was charged after he had opened the now notorious second docket for defeating the ends of justice in the Senzo Meyiwa murder case. This is one of many malicious prosecutions brought against competent SAPS members in the past 3 decades, reads the article. Under the cross-examination during the trial, that is now the trial to which Makubo was charged, Makadam, the prosecutor, considered that the laying of charges and media publicity surrounding them were effective in imputing in the minds of the general public the guilt of those so charged, even if they were subsequently found innocent. Do you see that? That means they are running a psyop, psychological gymnastics, in the public domain to find people guilty in the court of public opinion when subsequently such people are found innocent in a court of law. The public is already convinced of the lies they already believe. And you see that. And you can pick that up already in the Senzo Meyiwa trial as to what is going on. Let us proceed. The above quotation relates to one of many malicious prosecutions brought against competent SAPS members in the past 3 decades, in which the accused were top detectives whose investigations had threatened to expose the involvement of senior ANC members in KZN in the carnage in Richmond in the later 1990s. They were completely exonerated and won a civil action against the state, but the trial cost the then director Eric Nkabinde his position as head of detectives in KZN, a major blow to detective services in the province. Wow. This malicious prosecution of good cops has continued unabated, and the most recent victim joined in a prosecution with other investigators he had no connection with is Hawks Detective Warrant Officer Meshach Makubo. Just as a by the way, on the wayside, guys, this is exactly what they do to whistleblowers. So this is clearly an African National Congress's modus operandi. Wow, this is really unbelievable if you think about it. In America, they have something called Operation Mockingbird, that the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, has been responsible for operating. Once again, it's some sort of a PSYOP operation where the media, employees or practitioners in the media would lie to the general public. And of course, you can see that is happening in our country as well. And we saw quite a lot of that during COVID, particularly as it pertained to, I'll call it the VEC, because YouTube may simply delete this video because of the what to call thing whose name I don't want to mention for the second time. But the point is this behavior, this modus operandi, seemingly the African National Congress has copied it directly from the CIA. Wow, interesting. Remember, the FBI was here training our police. Let's continue with the story. Makubo was charged after he had opened the now notorious second docket for defeating the ends of justice in the Senzo Meyiwa case. The serious counts he and several others faced included assault, torture, kidnapping, and extortion. On 8th August, all the accused were found not guilty on all charges. The brief judgment in the Johannesburg High Court referring to complete lack of evidence needed for conviction. However, through his Meyiwa's investigations, Makubo's life remains in great danger. This is wickedness in high places, guys, if you think about it. So it simply means that this explains a lot of things about the prosecution in the Senzo Meyiwa. Why, for example, has Zandi's mother and Zandi's sister, Kelly Khumalo, not been in court already for cross-examination? Why has the woman that tampered with the scene, according to the neighbor that wrote the statement, how that she was sitting in her bed at 8 p.m. when she heard a noise and then had a whistle being blown in the area, which is generally their modus operandi, to alert one another in the community to come outside their houses. Something is happening within the area where they stay. Why have they not taken her statement? There are so many things here that cannot be explained that are going on. Instead, they are going on about these people who, for example, think about this. The gentleman whose girlfriend testified a week ago, who was arrested, who is light complexioned, who had dreadlocks, who had a gun, that gentleman cannot be located inside the house. It doesn't matter that he has the gun that shot Senzo. The point is, you still need to place him in the scene. If he has an alibi of his geographical location on the 26th of October, 2014, there's no way he murdered Senzo, even though he has the murder weapon. The least he can go to jail for is possessing the murder weapon, not pulling the trigger. Can you see that? This is problematic in many ways than one. And it explains a lot of things. Think about this modus operandi. This is exactly what Ramaphosa has done to Matsela Koko. You remember that Matsela Koko has been was arrested, released on bail, appeared in court, was released on bail of 300,000. Ever since then, his trial was supposed to commence in March sometime this year. That has not happened. Where are we now? In September. So basically the intention, and this is a Matsela Koko who literally stopped load shedding for this country, but he was removed from his job without any reasons given to us as society, and to create an impression of wrongdoing on his part, Ramaphosa sent hawks on him, and he's now been sent to appear in court and released for that bail. And now everybody's saying, no, he's guilty, Koko, this. And so there's a lot of propaganda going on in Ramaphosa's government. It's beginning to sound like it's an American government. Wow. And by the way, I'm not saying this is exclusive with Ramaphosa. It's just evident in his government, more evident than it ever has been. Let's proceed, going back to Senzo Meyiwa's case. Wow. This Daily Maverick revelation for me, really just blew my mind. Think about this. The serious counts he and several others faced included assault. I'm reading it for the second time because I want you to catch why I was mentioning Matsela Koko and all of that. This demonstrates how they operate. The serious counts he and several others faced, that is Mr. Makubo, Detective Makubo, included assault, torture, kidnapping, and extortion. Can you see how long that list is? Those are serious charges. Then on August the 8th, all the accused were found not guilty. Can you see that? And they knew they were not going to be found guilty. This is the psychological psyop that they are playing with the public. They were found not guilty on all charges. The brief judgment in Johannesburg High Court referring to complete lack of evidence needed for conviction. And I can tell you that's exactly what's going to happen in this Senzo Meyiwa trial right now as we speak. Because I, as a layperson, can assess that the people who are sitting there at the dock have nothing to do with the murder of Senzo. I'm not saying they are not criminals, of course. They may be 5-star generals in criminality, but they said they just did not kill Senzo. They are being used as a scapegoat of some sort. However, through his Meyiwa investigation, Makubo's life remains in great danger. The very fact that he was included here and was found not guilty is evidence that someone was trying to smear him. It's a smear campaign, which makes me wonder what happened to Tefo. It really makes me wonder what happened to Tefo. Did Tefo lose his mind, or did they put something in his water or in his food? Okay, I digress. Let's come back here. Quote, Warrant Officer Makubo, who has been detective for 30 years, suffered this shocking treatment for doing his job well following his appointment in 2018 to join the investigators dealing with the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. Now he's going to talk about Hitman Nduli, who's one of the accused in the case. Listen to this. As have other Hawks members, he has had his share of successful convictions, the most recent being that of taxi cum political hitman Fisoku Nduli on 6 counts of murder, a Nongoma IFP councillor plus witnesses, for which he received 6 life sentences. According to my records, this is one of only a few known convictions for dozens of politically linked killings in KZN. Nduli is now accused number 5 in Meyiwa's current case in court. He had been arrested and denied bail in 2018. Now, I know I didn't read that sentence properly, so let me go back to it. Nduli is accused number 5 in the Meyiwa case currently in court. He had been arrested and denied bail in 2018. Makubo realized there were shortcomings in the Meyiwa's investigation, including that a key statement had been removed from the docket after the witness had given that statement to 6 previous investigators. Can you imagine that? His investigations revealed that there was sufficient evidence to charge those in the house with Meyiwa when he was killed. That is Kelly, Tumelo Madlala, Zandile Kumalo, Makumalo, as well as Mtokozis, which led to opening of CAS 375/01/2019, the second docket, to which, by the way, therefore has been referring to as well. The prosecutor to whom the docket was presented agreed that the case was a strong one, and he started to prepare the indictment for the arrest of the suspects who had been in the house. Makubo was advised to open a case of defeating the ends of justice because key incriminating evidence had been removed. However, before the matter could proceed further, the prosecutor was allegedly instructed by Gauteng Director of Public Prosecutions Andrew Chauke to charge Makubo under an existing case which was already in progress, Hillbrow CAS 988/6/17. Can you see that? Obviously, we were being sent on a wild goose chase as a public. Wow. Guys, can you see this? It looks as though Senzo may never get justice here. This let's continue. This case relates to the matter in which the team of detectives recovered money stolen in Gauteng in 2006, during which time the crimes they were charged for were allegedly committed. Makubo had not been working with them. You see that? That's why he's still going to be found not guilty of that. The instruction to charge Makubo had emanated from the National Police Commissioner Kehla Stole, who had also sent a general from the Northern Cape to interrogate him with a view of charging him departmentally. But there was no evidence for an internal inquiry to proceed, meaning people in high visible places are literally behind Senzo's death. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Who are they protecting? This 2017 case had initially been heard in the magistrate court in Johannesburg in 2018, but the presiding officer had thrown it out for the lack of evidence. IPID had been ordered to gather further evidence, but it seems that had not happened when the matter resurfaced in Johannesburg High Court in 2020. Apparently, even the summons for Makubo to appear in court was left with his lawyers for the other accused. For 3 years, this case hung over the head of this experienced investigator, which would have been a major impediment to any career advancement. He had to attend court regularly where no evidence was laid against him. In July 2023, the truth about the extent of complicity in corruption was exposed, as summarized in a sworn statement by a witness, RM, who had been arrested in 2006 on suspicion of involvement in a robbery. At the time, he says he gave the subs 80,000 which belonged to him. Sometime in 2017, men named and apparently from IPID came to him wanting information about what happened when he was arrested in 2006, and he had made a statement about it, which he says was the truth. The same men returned in 2018 and asked him to make another powerful statement, which included that he had been assaulted by the police if he wanted to have his 80,000 returned to him. Now this is police corruption. And this is coming from IPID, and IPID is supposed to oversight the police. This country is rotten, guys. Our country is rotten. These people needs to go. The political party that has facilitated this rot in our police department needs to go. He then signed the second statement. However, in a further sworn statement made to a high court, advocates involved in the case dated 31/7/2023, RM revealed that he had signed the fourth statement given him by one of the investigators, PK, including assault that never happened, and confirms that he had not witnessed others being assaulted. He says he had made the fourth statement after a promise to get money taken by the police during the 2006 arrest. Back. It seems that the money recovered after the suspects had been arrested was linked to the robbery and entered into the subsystem. Serious questions. This deliberate falsification by IPID in collusion with the DPP, that is the Director Public Prosecutions, raises extremely serious questions about why this prosecution has been pursued, including the role of former SAPS Commissioner Sitole and the conduct of IPID investigators in collusion with the DPP. The first, arising from Makubo's being joined to an existing case, relates to why the case against those originally accused, Major General Jan Mabula and Northwest investigators, was so assiduously pursued, given the absence of evidence. These detectives had, coincidentally, been investigating the Cato Mano unit following media reports implicating them in dozens of murders. This strategy of deployment of investigators and prosecutors from other provinces had been pursued because of fears about the lack of independence of KZN police, IPID, and prosecutors who were colleagues of the accused. Serious allegations had been made that these arrests were driven by former IPID head Robert McBride because the man had arrested and prosecuted members of that unit, including organized crime head Johan Boysen. Although in the Boysen case, the culprits seem to have been senior prosecutors, especially Advocate Moipone Noko. Ironically, given his role in the prosecution of Makubo, a November 2020 media reports quotes senior prosecutor Chauke as being prepared to waive prosecution against the investigators, apparently ignoring instructions from NPA Deputy Head Rodney de Kock to enroll the case. While attempts will be made to have these prosecutions investigated, the exonerated accused will probably need to institute a civil claim against the state if the veracity of their allegations are to be tested in court of law. It is self-evident that the abominable treatment of an experienced, competent police member with a clean record resulted from his having exposed a tissue of lies and cover-ups relating to the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. However, he is not out of the woods in terms of his own personal safety. The threat to his life will continue despite having been cleared by the High Court of any wrongdoing, as a case that he opened poses a threat to extremely powerful people. Wow. Why, Bafetu, this country is corrupt. This country is corrupt. As Uskumba would say, I value this country, Bafetu. I value. This country is very, very corrupt. There is other evidence that suggests a deliberate cover-up involving various senior police members and alleged political collusion took place after Senzo Meyiwa was murdered. And in the interest of justice for the Meyiwa family as well as Makubo's safety, it should proceed to trial as soon as possible. The recent brutal assassination of Lieutenant Colonel Franz Matipa highlights the dangers posed to highly skilled Hawks detectives doing important work which may pose a threat to powerful economic political forces, and concerns about their safety must be taken seriously. DM. Wow. Now the story was written by Meriti Haas, who is a violence monitor and analyst. Wow. So what do you guys think? Do you think this explains the foolish questions that we see from the prosecution in the sense of the prosecution, not only the prosecution as well as the defense in the Senzo Meyiwa trial? They of course have their moments of entertaining us, but we don't want to be entertained whilst justice is not being served. What's the point of Mshololo being red hot when the wrong people are on trial? And to Mshololo's defense, she has at sundry times mentioned that there were no intruders in the house. Make no mistake about it. So I'm not trying to diss her here. If anything, I'm right on her side, because Mshololo is one person who has repeatedly said there were no intruders. I put it to you that there were no intruders. You remember that? She said that repeatedly. What's the point of this trial then? Is to say justice has been served. However, these people could not be found guilty beyond reasonable doubt, but the real culprits of Senzo Meyiwa's murder get away with sin or with murder? Wow. Now, what I always asked is this: if you had 5 people on the scene, excluding Senzo, and this eventuality materialized, Senzo is dead, in which other case have you ever had a scenario like what we are faced with right now, where people will have the type of descriptions which we have had in court that are sometimes contradictory, not sometimes, in many occasions are contradictory, and yet still these people are not being charged for defeating the ends of justice at the very least, let alone for the murder itself, but at the very least for defeating, because they are not telling the truth. It's pretty clear when they are being cross-examined that they are being economical with the truth. Okay, guys, that for me is shocking. And that would be my input on that. I thought I should share with you this Daily Maverick article, because I find that it's very informative to me about what is really happening, because I can see right through these tactics. You tell me what you think down below. Put your comments down below. can say you believe that justice will be served, or you don't believe that justice will be served under the current case. How many of you believe Kelly Khumalo should be charged and Zandi should be charged and be brought to court and be the ones who are being tried? And not only the two of them, Tumelo Madlala, Mthokozisi, as well as Longo Twala. Well, you can put that in the comments down below. See you in the next video.